Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Max here. Today I want to talk about San Francisco rent crisis, and I also want to touch on an NYC and how the two compare. And if your job requires you to stay in a mega city like San Francisco or New York, or you simply love the lifestyle of one, do stick around till the end so you can learn how to save the most money possible during these times. So why is this happening? This is happening due to the pandemic and the fact that a lot of tech companies said, hey, look, you can actually work from home. And they figured out that, hey, people are actually still productive when they work at home. So a lot of people are moving out of the cities and going somewhere nearby. So if it's San Francisco, they're probably going to Sacramento or other regions slightly away from the Bay Area. So that way, if anything happens and they need to come into work, it's only an hour or 2 hours away at most. San Francisco rent continues to move to lower lows, currently dropping to negative 24% for the year to year from 2019 for a one-bedroom apartment and 31% for a four-bedroom apartment. That is a huge change year over year, and it just goes to show that there's a lot of vacant apartments and vacant rooms currently at the moment, which is the first time in a long time for San Francisco, as it has been the boom of every single market out there. And NYC is not too far behind, with 20% down from 2019 for a one bedroom and 28% down for a four bedroom. Now, most likely the reason that four bedroom and higher bedroom apartments are struggling more in general is because those are typically the ones that were fully rented out before, and then as roommates are leaving, all the other people vacate as well, leaving a complete house empty, thus requiring the landlords to lower their prices even further, because they're probably holding 0 to maybe one tenant in an entire house currently. And some news sources are claiming even lower rents for San Francisco, sitting at negative 35%, such as Bloomberg. Many people are saying how San Francisco is going to take a while to recover. Although that is true, important factors to consider is, as prices come down, a lot of people are going to be moving to San Francisco from nearby cities that have been commuting an hour or 2 hours to work just to save on rent, because now maybe 35% has made a big enough of a difference for them to actually make the move. For example, after the Great Depression, there was a huge influx of people to California because housing was actually affordable for the first time in California. And that's why a lot of people decided to make the move, even though it was still probably more expensive than other regions. They felt like, hey, the price is actually decent enough for us to go here and for it to actually make sense. Did you know that there's 225,000 high tech jobs in the Bay Area? So that means for the companies that have announced that they are leaving the Bay Area, it's not such a big deal because there's thousands that are still sticking around. Now, if you haven't taken advantage of the lower rent in San Francisco, I highly encourage you to do so. Either renegotiate your rent or move to another apartment that is willing to give you a few months off for your money. And if you always wanted to live in San Francisco, this is probably the best time to move here, as it is the lowest it has been in years in terms of rent prices. The drive of San Francisco is completely infectious, and it's one of the reasons why I chose to live in San Francisco out of all the cities in North America. This is the place where you find the highest density of people that are most driven and will push you to do better and constantly encourage you to do better as well. And even though you can get a sip of that juice anywhere around the world, in San Francisco, you'll get the full keg to yourself. For example, this is what you can currently get in SOMA, which is one of the most expensive neighborhoods in all of US, all for $1,100. This apartment houses 600 people, and there are currently at most 40 people living here. And that just goes to show the vacancy issue right now in the city. Now, looking at this image here, some of the top cities have fallen in rent besides San Francisco. Even though San Francisco is at the bottom, New York, Boston, Seattle, San Jose, Oakland, DC, Chicago, and so on are all falling. And it makes sense for places like San Francisco and New York to be the most impacted because their rents were already really, really high, the highest in the country. So it makes sense for people to actually make a move to a suburban area and farther away from the office, because that will save them a lot of money. And I hope you do save money as well by renegotiating your rent right now. Now, when this is all over, how will remote work affect everything? After the pandemic ends and everyone has been vaccinated, will things truly go back to normal? And from my personal experience and what my friends have told me, some of their companies have told them that they should stay at home until 2021 is completely done and they'll be returning to the office in 2022. And personally, I'm staying at home till my company tells me that it's fine to go back. Being a mechanical engineer and doing design work from home, I am able to do most of my job from home. However, it is more convenient to go to the office and meet with the people. So the take that they have for me personally is to hold out until the restrictions have been lifted and it is safe to go to the office for everybody. Now, for everyone else, and going away from my personal experience and talking about you guys, is for you, these 4 factors are gonna matter. First is your job, second is your income level, and the third is your employer. Now, the fourth one is, if you're lucky, your preference, where the company will actually let you choose what you want to do. If you want to work from home, you work from home. And if you want to work in the office, you work in the office. And some astonishing numbers here as well. More than 40% of Americans are currently fully employed working from home right now. So when things return back to normal, we'll definitely see that number drop significantly, as most people still prefer working in an office. However, I don't think it's going to go down all the way by any means, and it's going to be way higher than it has been previously, as some companies are deciding to work completely remotely, such as Twitter. Now, on the other hand, there's companies like Google, which have been buying offices actually during these times and are offering more flexible work schedules, such as you can work from home, you can set your own schedule, and if you want to be in the office, you come to the office. But it's interesting to see that Google is actually buying up offices all over US during the pandemic. In my opinion, people have always loved the urban life. They love the human interaction. So as soon as things open up, I do strongly believe that people will be fleeing back into the cities, because they will realize that that's where everything happens, where you meet new people, you go on cool adventures, everything's open, you get more museums, you always have something to do. Whereas right now, most things are outdoors, and a lot of those things are things that you could do in a suburban neighborhood as well. You take a quick drive out to the nearest path, nearest mountain, do some hiking, and call it a day. But as soon as things open up, I think things are going to be completely different. There's going to be a rush and a surge of desire to go out to bars, clubs, restaurants. As soon as things open up, all those indoor activities are actually gonna completely peak in attendance like never before. And that's just my opinion. I do think people are gonna wanna go out because they've been held up in their little rooms for so long now, and they're ready to go out. And even after the pandemic and all the price drops that San Francisco has experienced, it's still one of the most expensive cities in all of US, and is gonna remain that way. And things are only gonna keep going up when things will open up, because San Francisco has always been the boom of every market. People are always drawn to this city. There's 1,000,001 things to do here. Personally, even with the lockdown happening, every weekend, me and my friends find lots of things that we can do outdoors safely, such as going to the parks, going to the beaches, doing hikes. And all of those things can be done in a city like San Francisco without having to travel miles and miles to get to a beach, to get to a hike, to get to a park, and so on. Because the city is absolutely littered with great activities that you can do outside. And that's what it's been praised for such a long time as well. And if you guys don't mind, please let me know down below what your company has told you to do during these times. Are you gonna continue working from home indefinitely? Are you gonna work from home until you feel like you gotta return, or has your office set a specific date that everyone's gonna be returning at? Please let me know down below so that everyone can know what's going on. And my prediction is that you probably have about 3 to 4 months before the prices start to revert back and move to higher and higher percentages from here on out. Although that being said, they'll probably still be lower all through 2021. But if you could do some apartment hunting right now and lock in a good deal, that would be the best for you, especially if it's a rent control apartment. Now, thank you so much for watching, leaving a like, and subscribing. I'll see you next time.